You better believe that I hate the people that took this girl and raped her brutally. You better believe it. And it's more than anger, it's hatred. And I want society to hate them.
Do I have hatred for them? And I said, look, this woman was mugged and thrown off a building. Thrown off a building on top of everything else. She's virtually, I mean, she's got some major problems, to put it mildly. I said, of course I hate these people. And let's all hate these people, because maybe hate is what we need if we're going to get something done.
I would have had the same fate as Emmett Till.
You've been hung.
I would have been hung.
2 weeks after their high-profile arrest, Donald Trump took out full-page ads in 4 major newspapers calling for the death penalty to be reinstated. Trump wrote, "Criminals must be told that their civil liberties end when an attack on our safety begins."
He was literally like the fire starter. He lit the match.
Donald Trump's targeted attack on the now infamous Exonerated Five can be described in many ways, but it has been nothing short of disgusting, cruel, baseless, and, to put it bluntly, steeped in racism and an outward hostility toward anyone who is not white. Look no further than his housing discrimination lawsuit from the early 70s. But if you thought for a second that Trump would take accountability for his smear campaign and inflame racial tensions, even years after the case was settled, well, you'd be sadly mistaken.
For Donald Trump, he's never apologized. In fact, he still claims they were guilty. In a statement to CNN last week, Donald Trump said, quote, "They admitted they were guilty. The police doing the original investigation say they were guilty. The fact that the case was settled with so much evidence against them is outrageous, and the woman so badly injured will never be the same."
All the way back in 2016, just weeks before the election, Trump would double down on his lie that the men were guilty, going so far as to slam the city for settling the suit filed against it.
They've been exonerated. There have been videos and movies shown about the case, and you came out with a full-page ad saying that they should die, that they should have the death penalty.
Why do you bring that question up now? It's an interesting time to bring it up. You have people on both sides of that. They admitted their guilt. If you look at Linda Fairstein and if you look at some of the prosecutors, they think that the city should never have settled that case. So we'll leave it at that.
And in 2019, Trump predictably refused to own up to lies he told about the 5 teens and the decades of trauma and pain they and their families have been subjected to yet again. All because one of the city's most powerful racists weaponized the media to play into racial stereotypes about crime, when in reality the real criminals were the figures pushing this narrative, as well as the man who later confessed and was proven guilty.
He would rape women, he would attack them, he would attack them in front of their children. And the police were so intent on getting the 5 of you that this man who was committing these crimes at the time, who was sent to prison for these crimes, was never in any way linked because of their blindness in this case.
Yes. I mean, the worst part about it is, like you said, their blindness, their rush to judgment, they're wanting to solve this crime and solve it quickly. They dropped the ball. I mean, they dropped it in the worst way. The young woman that you speak of, that was his last victim, she was a pregnant young Latina woman who he raped while her children were in the next room. He raped her and then he murdered her. And I mean, that right there is
She was a woman before, right. She was a woman before. So he continued his murder and rape spree as the police focused on the 5 of you.
Yes, indeed.
Exonerated Five member Yusef Salaam would go on to explain that law enforcement worked together with the media to paint the 5 as the ones that have to pay for the crime, even though both the police and the media did not know the complete truth of the case. But now we turn to present day with this.
President Trump, I'm Yusef Salaam, one of the Exonerated Five.
Sir, a member of the Central Park 5.
I'm Yusef Salaam, one of the Exonerated Five.
Very good. You're on my side.
No, I'm not on your side.
In the spin room after the presidential debate, Salaam confronted Donald Trump and showed infinitely more compassion and courage than the former president ever could. And even more recently,
the now exonerated members of the group known as the Central Park Five are suing Donald Trump for defamation after comments he made about them at a presidential debate last month. The complaint accuses the former president of making, quote, demonstrably false statements while on stage in Pennsylvania in September. Trump falsely claimed that the group of Black and Latino men, who were just teenagers at the time, had pleaded guilty when they were tried in connection with the brutal assault and rape of a woman who was running in Central Park back in 1989. He also said that the victim had died, all things that are not true.
First, was that a false statement? And second, did it cause the plaintiffs harm? And when you accuse people of a crime, generally speaking, the harm is presumed. So the real inquiry is, was that a false statement? And was it a false statement that was made deliberately? And he's obviously intentionally making that statement. So it looks like Trump has a problem.
The Exonerated Five just slapped Trump with a defamation suit to add to his long list of legal issues.
Then you have a guy like Trump, who on many levels was, one of the most important figures, or at least famous figures in New York at the time, coming at you. And the fact that they were able to sustain that and come out the way they are now, I know just all of the issues that I hear in the interviews and the like. And so I'm really happy that they are still standing, that they are still strong, and that they're able to go after him right now. Some people would just say, I just want to get on with my life. That time's over. I forgive. And maybe they would have if he didn't do what he did in the debate. And he's never going to stop. So just like as Dr. Malvo said with E.G. and Carroll, people have to do this work to shut him up and shut him out. But I'm just really proud of what these brothers and their families have done and what they're continually doing with their lives and getting out there in this public space.
Dr. Omekongo Dibinga could not be more correct here. The only way to try to hold powerful people like Trump accountable is to show a ridiculous amount of bravery and willingness to sacrifice your privacy and mental and physical well-being and put a target on your back for the rest of your life. And after everything these men have gone through, they deserve all the admiration and support they can get.
Laura, we want a trial. They have to clear their names now all over again, because in front of 67 million Americans on September 10th in that debate, Mr. Trump said that they had killed this woman and that they had pled guilty. And both of those things are not true. So now we have to clear their names all over again in a courtroom, in a trial, where we're going to be seeking damages to both compensate these five men and to punish Mr. Trump.
Lead attorney for the five, Shanine Spector, laid out the case bluntly to CNN's Laura Coates.
And he's known for more than 20 years that they were absolutely not guilty, because the guilty person confessed. His DNA was matched to the victim. He was tried. He was convicted. He was imprisoned. The DA of Manhattan filed papers to have these men's convictions vacated. The judge signed the order. So there's no doubt that they are not guilty. This is not an issue about politics. It's not an issue about the campaign. It's an issue about these allegations that he defamed these five men. And he's going to have to face those allegations in a court of law, where he'll have an attorney representing him and not a campaign spokesperson. So I just think it's unfortunate that he's decided to take that, this is all politics.
Unfortunately, that's who Donald Trump is. We will link the full lawsuit in the description box below if you want to take a look for yourself. And of course, we'll keep you updated as the case moves forward. Hey, I appreciate you watching. Now, if you can, please do become a channel member by going to youtube.com/TYTsports and clicking the join button. If that's too much for you, you can just go to tyt.com/join to become a member. It helps all of us out here at the Young Turks and keeps our network afloat. In addition, you could follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate the love. Have a great day.